We are not beginners forever, but we never stop learning.
So today we're going to hit the rewind button, go back to the very beginning, and look at how we can develop a quick and simple website using the basics within Squarespace. This is a mini tutorial that I've been planning to create for a while, and I want to tap into the 7 years I've had with working with Squarespace, probably creating over 300 websites and somewhere between 2,000 and 3,000 websites over my 20 years in the web design industry. And I wanted to show you how you can get the foundations right to ensure that you're not making simple mistakes that could cost you in the long run. So what we're going to be doing is creating a new trial in Squarespace, stripping it right back to the bare bones, and then building out scaffolding, essentially one page, so that you can get up and running along the right lines. To get us up and running, we first need to make sure we're selecting the right equipment for the job at hand. So here I've used an analogy I like to use regularly, which is your 3 different models of cars. You've got your family hatchback, the reliable, easiest to learn of the 3 different vehicles. You don't need an advanced license to be able to get yourself from A to B. And that's where our website builders fit in really nicely. We then move on to our custom fitted high performance sports car. That's still a car you're able to use on the road. It allows a degree of flexibility. You don't need to be an expert racing driver to be able to handle it. But at the same time, there are pitfalls and there are things that you need to be mindful of when getting behind the wheel. So this middle option would be software like WordPress, albeit you can pick a template and keep it very simple. The moment you start modifying WordPress, it can be more complicated to use. Then we move on to the other end of the spectrum, and then we have our elite performance Formula 1 cars. The metaphor here is comparable to how leading agencies will deliver projects. You can expect elite performance in a very competitive market, but the flip side is you're paying for that benefit. So let's have a look at option 1. Website builders. These are the simplest and the difficulty will scale with you. So we're going to use Squarespace in this example because that's what the course is about. And what you'll find on Squarespace is there's a huge list of tools in the toolkit, features that allow you to build up your pages with a huge amount of flexibility. That is a massive, massive selling point for lots of very good website builders. You'll find everything under the hood, where Squarespace will keep control of aspects like the hosting, management of domain names, and lots of other technical requirements like making sure you've got an SSL certificate active so you have a secure website. This all happens within Squarespace directly and without you needing any sort of technical understanding. So moving on to custom builds, and I'm going to use WordPress as our example here. There's a huge array of options in terms of how you can customize the look and feel of the website. Yes, you can pick a starting template on WordPress, and that works in many, many cases, but you can literally build the website from scratch using custom code, making sure that you get the exact bespoke look and feel that you're after. WordPress is capable of managing huge websites, whereas I would recommend a Squarespace website of up to around 1,000 to 2,000 pages in total, which sounds like a lot, but if you're in a large organization in a high growth competitive sector, you may need more than that. You will then have a website that's capable of plugging in various custom code that's been created by a very active community. So it becomes a tinkerer's paradise. You can really learn on the platform, you can do an awful lot with it, and there's a huge range of flexibility. But the cost is the fact that you have to know enough to be able to manage it or have someone in to manage your website for you to make sure you're not making any fatal mistakes. With agencies, you can 100% expect the best results. You are speaking to experts which can have collectively many, many years of industry experience, and they will be comfortable dealing with large organizations with very demanding requirements. On the flip side, you can probably guess you're going to have to pay a considerable amount for a good agency. So it depends on the size of your wallet and also how much time you've got available. This starting tutorial on Squarespace is geared for those who are time rich, but at the moment cash poor, or can't justify spending a huge amount on having someone to build a website for them. You can get an awful lot from Squarespace, especially if you put the time in at this early stage. So without any further ado, let's have a play with the platform. Okay, now we're going to create our website in Squarespace. If this is your first time, you'll need to create an account from scratch, but just follow the form instructions. I already have an account, so I'm going to click on the Get Started button and jump into the process of choosing a template. So I can scroll down the page. The one thing with Squarespace, especially the latest version in 7.1, the template you choose isn't as important as it used to be, because many of these templates, if not all of them, have lots of interchangeable features, meaning that there's a huge similarity across different templates. So one thing that might change is the masthead. Some have very specific options in the masthead, but even then, most are very, very similar. The best way, and the way I'd recommend, is just to jump in and have a go. So I'm just going to choose a template to get me started. I'm going to choose Barbosa. So I could preview it just to have a look at see how the website looks before choosing that template. And if I scroll down through smoothly, we can see that there's nice image transitions on there. There's good contrasts between the text and the background. We've got a little bit of banding between using the image and then using this call to action band here as well. So all in all, nice little template to start with. But one of the true strengths of Squarespace, in my opinion, is the quality of the templates themselves. We can also preview to see how it will look on both tablet and mobile design as well. And when we are building a website in Squarespace, the good thing is, for your peace of mind, is that the mobile layouts are already built for you. So you don't have to then go and build a separate app or mobile-friendly website alongside this. Okay, so I'm going to choose this one. So I'm going to click Start with this design. And it's going to take a few seconds just to get everything set up for me. I can now enter in a website for this. So I'm going to choose a very original name, and it will then take me through the tutorials, giving you an idea of where to find things. If it's your first time, which I'm assuming based on watching this video it will be, have a look through this and just absorb the general flow of the website. So we're going to click on Get Started once we've finished with that. And we can see there's a menu on the left-hand side here. And we're going to be focusing predominantly on pages. And we've got our content areas. This is a WYSIWYG editor. So what you see is what you get. And so we can have regular live previews as we're editing the website, which is crucial when you are new to web design. So my first step is I'm just going to get rid of all of these extra pages that I don't need. You can activate the demos by clicking on this cog icon and then using the page layout that's already in place. Actually, we don't even need to click on the cog now. We can see the demo is removed. So if we wanted to, we could leave that page in place. Yeah, why not? I'll do the same with contact. Okay. One thing we can see, which is a bugbear of mine, is that home is not on the main menu. I know when we click on the title of the website, or if there's a logo being uploaded there, it will take us back to the home page. But I'm a big believer in trying to remove as many barriers for the end user as possible. So if they're thinking about how they navigate through the website, where to find the home page, then they're probably doing too much thinking and not enough focus then is on your product or service that you're looking to portray. So, strong recommendation, especially if you're unclear about the best route forward, is to have the home on the top menu. And all I did was click and drag the page into place. As I say, click on it once and it will go from a demo page to a live page. I could delete any page by hovering over the menu item and clicking on the trash can icon. Okay, so this home page, let's have a look. So when we click on edit, it goes to full screen preview. And when I roll over various sections in Squarespace, I get these blue pop-ups. So I can either add a section or I can edit content in the page itself. So I'm going to strip out a few of these. Just neaten up the page a bit. but I still might leave in some of this content. Okay, so now we have a good chunk of our page in place. I'm going to click on the Add section, and we've got a series of template options that we can add in there. This is a huge step forward with Squarespace, and it allows us to do an awful lot in a short space of time. So I really like this feature from a scaffolding perspective. I can build up a page one section at a time. So for example, when we're building a quick turnaround one-day web design workshop, we will stick to the started templates because we don't have time to really customize these sections. And so for projects where that isn't as crucial, and that's a good example with the one-day workshop, we might just pick a template for our header section, like this image here. So now we can see that the image has gone full width with the masthead overlaying it, and we've got a title then centrally aligned. So we could put a welcome message in place in that area. Now, I'm very tired of seeing these images because I've built over 300 Squarespace websites, and these stock images have been used regularly for quite some time now. So we could do with a bit of a refresh, please, Squarespace. What I'm going to do for now, though, is I'm going to go to the pencil icon. So if I hover over the new header area we've added, click on the pencil icon, and now I get a series of section options. So I can change the height of the section. So from small to medium, large. So that's 3 preset options. The large in most cases will fill the height of the browser window, meaning we get that full background image. Quite a nice feature. If I then jump to the 3 dots, I can manually adjust the height of the section. The only downside to this is it does mean more time because we want a nice consistency. We get away with it with the home page and some landing pages, but the majority of the time we want these heights to be consistent from page to page because, again, it helps with the user flow. They're not thinking about navigating through the website. It doesn't become jarring to the user. So there's an awful lot that could be said for just having that nailed down. So I'm going to set medium content height, and then the content width we can set on here. But because the text is aligned, it's not making any difference. But if I go medium, can we see the text block, that blue square rectangle, should I say, has been reduced and reduced again further for small. We've also got the option to align the content to the top of the container with some preset padding above the text area, and the same then below for that. We can also align it to the left, and this is where the content width comes into play. So if we go with a large content width, we can see that actually it's filling the width of the section. That means we don't need to align the content. So if I go with small and left aligned, we can see that that text block now is aligned to the left. If I wanted the text, the edge of this W to line up here, I would simply click on the alignment option within the text, and that will move it over. So there we have it. We've got aligned to the base of the image, but with some nice clean padding below as well. And now we've aligned the text to the left, meaning that we've got that flow then, that consistency of the text aligned to the left all the way through. My final step here in this header section is I'm going to remove the image and click on this plus to add an image. I have 3 options. I can upload a file from my computer. I can select from a library of pre-uploaded photos, which is really handy when you have an established website that's been live for a little while and you have a back catalogue of images that you want to choose from. Or alternatively, there's a free or paid stock library options available. So the free images come from Unsplash, which you can just go to unsplash.com. That's UN and then splash.com to use photos from this community royalty free and without cost. If you wanted to choose something more specific or in some instances higher quality, you can choose images from Getty using the premium images option, but beware, you will pay for this option. So here, this is an £8 option. I believe the currency will change depending on the location of your Squarespace account. Okay, so I'm just going to choose any random photo for this. I think I'll go with this one because it's already got a nice dark image overlaying it. And now it's going to take a few seconds just to upload that banner area. I can click, hold and drag this focal point to choose the area of the photo that I want to appear. Now, as it happens, we've got a nice balance here now with the logo or text appearing clearly above the top of the image, and we've got a nice flow there. I can adjust the overlay opacity, and the color that will cover the image will depend on the color pack that you've chosen for our layout. So this is on darkest. If I was to go to bright, we can see it goes with a white overlay. There's no right or wrong here, apart from the fact that we need to make sure we get good strong contrast between our text and our background image, as we do there. If we go for this option, for example, it just gets completely washed out, and that's not very good website usability. So I'm going to keep it on darkest 1. Maybe even have a look at darkest 2 if I wanted a silvery font in place. Okay, and we have our first section. I'm now going to add in a section with a white background. So I'm going to add an introductory text area. And I'm going to choose this option here. So at the moment, everything's floating around a little bit too much. We're losing a little bit of flow and consistency through our page. So I'm going to go back into our pencil icon again, reduce the section height, align it to the left, and I just need to align the text to the left as well. And I'm going to change the color pack to go to the lightest 1, or maybe light 1. Yeah, we'll go with that. What we've got now is a really nice sharp contrast between the hero unit, or the banner at the top of the page, and the text area below. I like to have really nice contrast between sections, and that's flowing really nicely. So the one thing I wanted to show you before we wrap up this introductory section is how we can manipulate content in sections themselves. So we can now see this oval in here. Because the full width is with this bounding box, we're going to have this area unused, which is great if we're only using text and we just wanted to make a bold statement in a section of a page. But ultimately, when we're looking at multiple columns, and if we add an image, that will create another column, we might want to just bump up that width for large. And now we can click on this plus icon in the oval, and we could add an image, which is looking enormous there. But don't panic, we can adjust this quite easily. So I'm going to flick through here. We're going to choose the penguins. And again, just wait a few seconds for that to update. Marvelous. Now if I click, hold and drag on the image, we can see that we can align it to the left. So I'll just go back a step and do that again. So with the mouse button pressed down, I can click and hold and drag an image. To start off with, we got this huge blue box. If I was to release now, it wouldn't move anywhere. I could move it above, and we can see that long blue line, which would move the image above the text. I could move it to the left, so we got that long blue line that would split this container into 2 columns. And now I can click, hold and drag on that faint line between the sections to readjust. So it's snapping at various breakpoints, or various points. This is the 12-column grid in place. So there's 12 columns that are invisible going across this page, and we can snap it to individual sizes. I can also drag it to the right, and create 2 columns that way. Or I could hold and drag, and you can see the small blue box. That means now the text is wrapping around it. So if I was to put in more text in, the text would wrap below the image. And then once we've got the content in as we want, we can then choose the size of the image and fit it in as we want. So those are a lot of the standard text editing options available. If I click on this oval again, we get a huge quantity of content options. We don't have time in this introductory section to go through them in detail. I do have my Squarespace Box of Tricks course, which is available on Pixel Haze Academy or on Udemy. That will take you through all of these options available in a huge amount of detail. And it's well worth checking out if you're new to Squarespace. But I'm just going to put that quote block in there, and now we have our welcome banner. We have our introductory section, which is probably a little bit too long for a section in its entirety. I'd probably bring in another band. Then we've got an image with some signposting and 2 more quotes below. So that's just an idea of how we can build out a page in Squarespace. I'm just going to show you a couple of different options before we wrap up this session. We've got, when I click on edit to go back into edit mode, we've got this mobile preview option that allows us to flick between desktop and mobile preview options. Very handy. And then we've got the site styles. So if you've been wondering up until this point, how do I change the fonts to match my brand, or same for colors, this is where you would update them. So that's using this paintbrush icon when you're editing any page. And if you hover over it, it should say Site Styles. Here we can select fonts, and we can change to pre-existing font packs. So if you don't want to have the added pressure of choosing your own fonts, you can just choose a preset designer-approved font pack on here. And that will change all the fonts throughout the site to match tried and tested font combinations. We can adjust the base size, or we can jump in and change the font styles to match fonts that are available in Squarespace. And there's a large library available. It is possible to upload your own fonts if you don't have them in Squarespace from day one. Okay, colors. So this shows our color pack that we start with. So I could edit this palette and say, for example, I wasn't keen on this color and I wanted to make it monochrome. I could drag it over and play around with it. The one thing I would strongly recommend is you don't change the lightness of these color packs. So if we've got black there, keep it very, very dark. Likewise, the white or the lightest colors need to remain light, even if you change the tones of them. The reason being is, if I was to make this section black, the darker I make it, the harder it is to read the text overlaying it. So what I'd have to do is go through section by section and panel by panel and change the default settings for each area. So if you change this main color palette, you'll be off to a much better start. There we go. I've changed that now to be truly monochrome. And we're going to press save at this point. So hover over the done button, press save, and now we can see we've successfully built our first page in Squarespace. We've adjusted the menus. If we wanted to add a new page, I could click on the plus icon here, and I've got a number of options available. So this is your very quick orientation in using Squarespace for the first time. I strongly recommend that you do a little bit more research, spend some more time with the platform, create dummy websites that you don't even have an idea of what you want to do with it next. Just create a trial. It will expire. That's the worst that can happen. So with Squarespace, you get 2 weeks on your trial. If you want to have a discount on your first year's hosting, if you get to that stage, sign up as a Pixel Haze Academy member. You'll get 20% discount for your first year, plus access to our full range of courses available. Hope you've enjoyed this tutorial. Catch you next time. Cheers.